We grew up. He went to one high school, I went to the other, and we became friends, and we worked at Bullock's men's shop. We did...
Jack Webb?
Yeah. He sold clothes. Silverwoods, I'm sorry. Did I say Bullock's? God. And he went in the Air Force, and I went in the Army. Jack Webb married a lady by the name of Julie London. I threw them their marriage party in San Francisco. She had just come out in a picture called Taproots.
Cinderella lost a shoe, and so she got a maid. With lovely shoes a girl can't lose. In gallon camp she'll raid.
More miles to a gallon cap. Yes, gallon caps, the family shoe stores with the yellow fronts. The largest shoe chain in the West, with stores from Canada to Mexico to serve the West. GALLENKAMPS, Gallon Caps present Pat Novak for Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak for hire.
By July of 1948, Jack Webb was 28 and bored. After emceeing the short-lived Jack Webb show and 1 out of 7 for ABC in San Francisco, he'd collaborated with writer Dick Breen in the cult hit Pat Novak for Hire.
Down here, a lot of people figure it's better to be a fat guy in a graveyard than a thin guy in a stew. That way you can be sure of a tight fit.
Early in 1947, Pat Novak's success took Jack Webb home to his native Los Angeles.
It works out all right if your mother doesn't mind you coming home for Christmas in a box.
Actress Lillian Buyeff remembered that time.
About 9 o'clock.
I remember Jack Webb before Dragnet. As a matter of fact, Herb Ellis was living in San Francisco at the time. He and Jack were very good friends. And when Jack was coming to Los Angeles, Herb called me and said, meet him at, I don't forget which studio, and audition for him. He's going to be doing a program called Pat Novak for Hire.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you remember the show?
Yeah.
So that's where I met Jack. I met Raymond Burr there. And a woman that I wonder if she's still around. Her first name was Yvonne. A very, very low, sexy voice.
Yvonne Patey.
Exactly. Is she still around?
Yes.
Yvonne Patey.
Yeah. I remember.
You remember the voice?
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's my recollection of Jack Webb at first.
My name is Lee Underwood. I'll give you $300 to do something for me.
With Novak still airing from San Francisco, Webb and Breen teamed up again for Mutual with Johnny Madero, Pier 23. It debuted in April and was Webb's first coast-to-coast show.
If it were murder, I'd do it myself.
Although it only lasted 5 months, it allowed Webb to work with some of the most talented people in Hollywood radio. He began to act in CBS's Escape and was soon doing bit parts for William Spear on Suspense.
I promise nothing will happen to you.
In July of 1948, Webb was back at it again with writer E. Jack Newman and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
You did Jeff Regan with Jack Webb.
Very early on. Jack and I worked together at that time. We were frankly doing another version of Pat Novak for Hire. We used to do everything but get into fistfights over how things should go and so on. We're still very good friends. I see Jack now and then. We never did do anything in television together.
Why doesn't he bother you?
Because I bother back too fast.
It aired on CBS's West Coast network into December. However, after playing one hard-boiled PI after another, Webb was looking for a role he could really sink his teeth into.
I don't want a gun.
It's empty, don't worry.
Did you ever write any Dragnet for him?
I must tell you how you can make some big slips in your life. Jack and I, after all of the fighting and arguing, we lived together too. While we were doing Jeff Regan, Jack said, I've got this great idea for a program called Dragnet.
All right, it's your 300.
You better go now.
I want to do this, I want to do that, and so on and so on, and I've got to, I think I've got to deal with NBC, and I want you to do the audition.
Young to ask why.
And I said, that's a terrible idea. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Like a locker room towel.
Relax, Patsy. You'll never learn to fall in love that way.
That summer, Webb was cast as a forensic specialist in the film He Walked by Night. He became friends with the police technical advisor, Detective Sergeant Marty Wynn. Their conversations became the inspiration for a new police procedural, one that would become one of the most famous shows in radio and TV history, and turn Jack Webb into an American icon. Webb spent the entire fall doing his own legwork. He hung out at police stations, took night classes, and rode with detectives on house calls.
I stopped in front of the place. It was a machinery company. I could see a light burning in the back.
NBC skeptically greenlit an audition. They thought the idea sounded flat. Like with Richard Diamond, booze, innuendo, and shootouts were the spice that made detective shows interesting. To help secure the deal, Webb got cooperation from the LAPD. So long as he didn't go out of his way to portray the department in a negative light, they'd allow him to use closed-case files.
That's right. You make too much for a thief and not enough for a customer.
In January of 1949, Jack Webb intimated to Radio Life that his days playing guys like Novak were almost over. His next character would be Joe Friday. Dragnet premiered, coast to coast, on Friday, June 3, 1949 at 10 p.m. Eastern Time over NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet. Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life.
It was the first of its kind, a realistic, documentational portrayal of the LAPD at work.
I was a big part of Dragnet. I did the original audition. Barton Yarborough, do you remember that name? And Jack Webb and Charlie McGraw, bless his heart. He played a man by the name of Captain Ed Backstrand. I opened the show announcing it, introduced Jack, who introduced Bart, who introduced the captain. I closed it off. I took the show upstairs to a gentleman by the name of Harry Bubeck, who was then the program director on the Pacific Coast, and a friend of mine who'd worked in San Francisco. We kind of like gravitated down about the same time. He came to a permanent job. I came to walking the streets. And he bought the show. And that's how Dragnet went on the air.
Jack did everything. He, had boundless energy and paid enormous attention to everything. It was his 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day job for him. And he delivered something that we're all used to now, but then it was so startling and so new. It was incredibly successful. The same thing when it became a television show. Jack Webb has contributed a great deal to both radio and television in technique and attitude, attack, everything, And what looks old hat to us now was very fresh and new once, and it gave us all the guidance to do other things.
NBC sustained production costs for the first 13 weeks during its summer run. By the time the 7th episode aired on July 21st, the show had found its rhythm. Barton Yarborough played Sergeant Ben Romero, and Raymond Burr was Chief Ed Backstrand.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You've been off duty 2 hours. You receive an emergency call from the chief of detectives. An entire block in the heart of your city is threatened with complete destruction. Your job? Report at once.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 15th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were off duty reporting in on an emergency call. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 8:32 a.m. when I walked in the Spring Street entrance of the City Hall.
You Sergeant Friday?
Yeah, that's right.
Take my elevator, Sergeant. It's the only one in service.
All right.
I'll run you up to 16. The chief's waiting for you up there.
What's the pitch? Only one elevator in service out of 10? The place looks deserted. What's going on?
Nobody in the building. All the office people been sent home. Lots of trouble.
Somebody declare a holiday?
No joke, Sergeant. Big trouble.
All right, you convinced me. What is it?
Here we are. 16th floor.
Over here, Friday.
Hi, Joe. Hello, Ben.
You made good time.
Came as soon as I got the call, Ed.
Sorry to have to bring you back in. You worked last night, didn't you?
Yeah, midnight to 8 this morning.
Sorry. Come on.
Okay.
What is it, Skipper? Why all the hush?
Wait till we get inside. In here.
Okay.
Number one, let's keep our voices down.
All right.
I'll make it as brief as I can. Every minute counts. What time you got, Friday?
8:33.
All right, here it is. 55 minutes ago, a man walked into this building with a homemade bomb under his arm. If we don't release his brother from the county jail by 9 o'clock this morning, he says he'll pull the trigger on the bomb and blow up the whole building.
He's kidding, Skipper.
Who is the guy?
Name's Vernon Carney. Here's his package. He and his brother have been in and out of jail since 1937. Small-time thieves.
Yeah. There's the FBI kickback. We had him once before, both of them.
Brother's name is Elwood, serving a year for car stripping.
And this two-bit thief is sitting here in the city hall with a bomb on his lap?
That's right. In the next room.
What kind of a bomb is it, Ed? You think he's bluffing?
Could be bluffing, but the crime lab says no.
Lee Jones from the lab get a look at it?
Been in there twice. One end of the box is glass. Says you can't see much without a closer look, but you can't get near the guy.
What do you want us to do?
It's a volunteer job. You can take it or leave it. I won't order you to do it.
How you want to handle it?
You sure you want a piece of this one, Romero?
No, he doesn't, Ed. He's got a family. Get me another single man. We'll give it a try.
Wait a minute, Joe. What makes this job so different? Anytime we kick a door in, we never know what's on the other side.
That's what makes it different. This time we do.
No, you're not going to cut me out. Not the only time I know what I'm getting into.
All right. Chandler's tried. Hannon, Davis, Watson, they've all tried. This guy Carney knows what he's doing. He's no pushover. But somebody's got to get that bomb away from him. Friday, Romero, it's your baby now.
I looked at my watch. It was 8:36. We left Backstrand and started down the hall. If Carney was going to make good his threat to blow up the building by 9 o'clock, we had exactly 24 minutes to talk him out of it. Ben and I figured we'd better look him over first and then work out some kind of a plan. Maybe just talking to him would do it. Vernon Carney was sitting in a straight-back chair against the far wall facing the door. He was seated between two windows that looked out over the city. Along the left wall was a row of 6 wooden chairs. In the center of the right wall was a connecting door leading to the office where Backstrand had briefed us. The door was locked on both sides. Just off-center and favoring the left of the room was a small filing table. The other furniture in the office was a desk just forward of the connecting door on the right. There was a dictaphone on the desk. In the near left corner, shielded by a white screen, was a small wash basin. The faucet leaked. Vernon Carney was middle-aged. He sat erect, holding a black box on his lap. He held his right hand inside one end of the box. Ben and I stood there for a minute and looked at him. Then we walked in the room. What do you say to a man with a bomb?
That's close enough.
Cigarette, Carney?
I'm not smoking right now.
What are you trying to prove?
You know what I want?
We're not going to let your brother out of jail.
You got until 9 o'clock to change your mind. According to that clock on the wall, you got 24 minutes.
If we go, you're going with us, Carney.
Don't take much of a brain to figure that, copper.
What made you think you could get away with this?
Haven't yet. It ain't 9 o'clock. Unless that clock's slow. Haven't checked it against my pocket watch lately. That's the one that's running this show.
Have you given any thought to all the innocent people that are going to go up with that thing of yours there?
My brother's innocent. I want him out of jail.
The court says he's guilty. He'll get out when he serves his time.
That's where you're wrong, copper. He gets out at 9 o'clock this morning.
All right, come on, Carney. Get your hand out of that box. Put the box on the table.
You think I'm bluffing, don't you? I'm going to let you get within 5 feet before I make a liar out of you.
Okay, Carney. I guess you mean business.
You can take 3 more steps and find out for sure.
Suppose we did let your brother out. We'd just come out and pick him up again, you along with him?
If you could find us.
Let's get this straight. If we let your brother Elwood out, how do we know you're going to keep your promise?
What promise? I ain't made any promises. You just get Elwood down here first, and then we'll talk about it.
There's only one thing I can't figure, Carney.
Yeah, what's that?
If we don't let your brother out, you say you'll pull the trigger on that bomb. You're going to kill a lot of innocent people. What are you going to prove by that?
It's 8:37. You've got 23 minutes left.
No, I wish you'd answer that one for me. Why do you want to kill a lot of innocent people?
Don't try to con me, copper. I know they cleared everybody out of this building 45 minutes ago. I know they cleaned out the whole block. They got it roped off.
Where'd you get your information?
I got a couple of windows here to look out of. Don't you think it's about time to send somebody over to get Elwood?
You know, Carney, we've got a way out of this. We don't have to let your brother out neither.
I've heard that before.
What's to stop us from leaving the building along with the other few officers and let you sit here and touch off that bomb?
Go ahead. It won't be a long wait without you. Who are you trying to kid? You'd let me blow up $10 million worth of taxpayers' money? No. You're going to let Elwood out. You'll wait till the last minute to do it, but you'll let him out.
Ed, I'm still not convinced Carney can back up what he says.
Then why didn't you take the box away from him?
Yeah.
We're in a spot, let's face it.
How about an eye for an eye, Skipper?
What do you mean?
If he pulls the trigger on that machine, he kills us. How about us getting him first?
All right, Romero. How are you going to handle it?
Well, I'm not top man on the pistol range, but I could wing him.
And then he hands the box to you? Or maybe he falls and his reflex action pulls the trigger.
Okay, I don't wing him. I stop him for keeps.
You just can't walk in there and shoot him down.
Why not? You do the same thing with an armed criminal.
Yeah, but you warn him first.
I'll warn him.
Yeah, and after you shoot him, you find out it's a harmless gadget. Couldn't have gone off in a million years.
No, a gun's not the answer. We can't shoot him until we're positive.
We'll be positive by 9 o'clock, and there might not be anybody around to shoot him.
We've located Carney's apartment. There's a detail out there checking it now. Pacelli and Morris.
Ed, have you got any ideas at all? Anything we could try?
That's why I called you in. None of us have gotten any further than you did just now.
There's just one thing I want to know for sure.
Yeah, Friday. Is it or isn't it? We all want to know.
Either way, we've got to get that box away from him.
Backstrand. Yeah. You did? Yeah. No, stay out there till I call you. All right, here's half the answer. That was Pacelli. They found 28 sticks of dynamite in Carney's apartment.
We knew Carney wasn't kidding now. We could see into the bomb through that glass window in one end. It looked like dynamite inside, and there was dynamite in Carney's room. We didn't know if he had the nerve to pull the trigger. We didn't know if it would go off when he did.
This episode featured Parley Bear.
At the risk of
Go slow.
possibly decanonizing a saint, I'll tell you, and I will humanize the man. As my wife has told me many times, I have a mouth. I thought I was just giving him some rather sparkling repartee, and it turns out he misinterpreted it as sass. He got mad at me, and it lasted for 8 years. Now, that's carrying the peeve a little too damn far. But right out of a clear sky, I got a call for a television show, and I went over to the casting office at Warner Brothers. I asked the casting man, who's directing this? And he said, Jack Webb. And I slid the script back across the desk to him, and I said, he's been mad at me for 8 years. You better cast somebody else. And he said, well, he requested you. And I felt as though I'd been knighted for a minute. On my way home, I thought, no, he suddenly remembered something he didn't say to me 8 years ago. And he's going to get me in front of a bunch of people and say it. But what the hell, I'll go along with the gag. So I had quite a bit of wardrobe to take, and it was about a school. What was that series? About the high school. Jane Wyman was in it. Didn't last very long, apparently. And memorable. I thought the set was, there was no red light on when I went on, but I had quite a bit of wardrobe and no one there to help me carry it. And I had script in a bag, and I was bringing 2 hats, and there was no place to put them, so I put them both on my head. There was no red light on the stage. I walked in and down a not yet lit set and walked right into the middle of a rehearsal. There I stopped. with one foot in the air like a sandhill crane, 2 hats on my head, and my arms full of wardrobe, and Mr. Webb glaring at me like a basilisk. There the matter rested for a matter of seconds. And he regained control and said, "Somebody help him with his wardrobe." They tottered me over to my dressing room, and Jack said, "I'll be in a minute." And he came in with 2 cups of coffee. He said, "As I remember, you take cream and sugar." Yes, I tasted it gingerly and then drank it down. And I have to say that whatever our difference of opinion was, he had completely forgotten it or had loftily risen above it. And then I worked for him pretty steadily from then on.
From here on in, all of us agreed that Vernon Carney sat in the next room, holding in his 2 hands a force powerful enough to destroy us all. We had to get that box away from him, and to get that box, we had to have a plan. I looked at my watch. It was 8:40. 20 minutes till 9 o'clock.
How do we get it away from him?
I got an idea. It might work.
Let's have it.
Carney's sitting against the far wall between 2 windows. They're both open.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, if we could get a man through one of those windows, we might get Carney from behind.
How are you going to get him?
Whoever gets through the window could slug him.
What do you do then?
Somebody grabs the box. The crime lab can tell us what to do with it.
How do we get a man through one of those windows? We're on the 16th floor.
Well, there's some kind of a ledge that runs around the building on each story.
Wide enough for a man to walk on?
And let's take a look.
All right.
Looks pretty narrow, Joe.
That's a good 18 inches. Could be done.
Oh, too risky. It's raining out. That ledge is slippery.
Strong wind out there, Joe. Tear a man right off the building.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, there's still a way. How about a ladder?
16 floors, Skipper.
There might be a way. The fire department would know that. I'll get Battalion Chief Erickson.
Is Lee Jones in the building?
No, he's over in the crime lab. I'll get him up here, too. I don't know, Friday. Maybe it'll work.
It's got to, Ed.
All right, now look. It's going to take a couple of minutes to set this up. We've got to know what Carney's doing every second of that time.
Well, how about the dictaphone in there on the desk?
Good. Get it on without him seeing you.
We'll try.
The dictaphone in there is connected to this one in here. This room is 1614. You got that?
Yeah.
All right, push down key 1614 on that machine in there and leave it down. Get the receiver off the hook and leave it off.
Leave the receiver off.
That's right. You know, if it isn't off the hook, we won't be able to hear a thing in here.
All right. Come on, Ben.
This is Backstrand. Give me Chief Erickson.
Where's my brother?
Still in his cell?
You coppers are long on talk, but short on time.
Yeah, we know.
I'm telling you, for your own good, you'd better get Elwood over here.
Carney, I'll bet if we get your brother on the phone here, he'll tell you he doesn't want any part of this.
You mean Elwood don't want out? Since when?
Sure he wants out, but not your way.
He's only got a year to serve. Why don't you leave him alone?
I told El. I told him I'd get him out. He didn't think I could do it. But I'm doing it.
I'll make you a bet, Carney. Let us get your brother on the phone. He won't walk out of here with you.
All right, get him on the pipe. Where you going? The phone's over here.
Have to use the dictaphone. Got to get an okay from the chief. Elwood's still a prisoner.
What's the matter with the phone?
No operators. You know the building's been cleared.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Almost forgot. Okay, you can use the dictaphone.
This Friday, Ed. Carney wants to talk to his brother. Yeah, I know you'll have to send somebody over. Have them put the call on extension... wait a minute. What's that extension number, Ben?
2351.
2351, Ed. Right. It'll take a minute.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to talk to El. Been a couple of months since I seen him. We've always been together, me and El, most of the time.
Joe, let's go in and see if we can hurry that call.
Good idea, boy. 16 minutes to 9. Hey, cop.
Yeah.
Forgot to hang up the dictaphone, didn't you?
Let's talk a little bit about Dragnet again, working with Jack Webb.
Yeah.
You were a part of his company.
Yes.
So to speak. It was an informal company, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, sure. It's just that he relied on these people. Not meaning to, I'm sure. He didn't set out to form a group. But it was very hard to break into that little company of his. It was Vic Perrin and...
He looked, I think, for a naturalness on the part of his...
Oh, yes, he did.
And he wanted the audience, whether on radio or television, to identify with these people, or at least to listen to them and say, that is really how this
That's right.
this person would sound on that.
That being so, strangely, I have done some of the broadest characters I've ever done for Jack. I mean, really broad, far-out characters, except he felt that they were real. What he didn't want you to do was act. As long as you could be real in whatever you were doing, that was fine.
What kind of direction did he give you then, with that end in mind?
Not any more than he had to. Not character direction. He'd hand you the part and say she's A, or it was written out that way. If you got too far off, he'd bring you back.
And you knew what was expected of you, and he
Sure
knew
did.
that you could do what he was looking for.
That's
so
right.
It just was.
Yeah.
How long did it take to do a Dragnet radio show, for example? Would it be a one-day thing?
Oh, yeah.
A whole day? Half a day?
No, not a whole day.
Not even a whole day.
When you get that box, place it in the water. We'll get the bucket out of the building as fast as we can.
And once we get the bomb underwater, we're in the clear.
And I can't promise you that, but it's the safest way to handle it under the circumstances.
All right, that's the procedure. Sam, you take care of your end.
Right away.
I'll get a detail to give me a hand down on the street. We'll have a car ready to take the bomb to a safe area to decommission it.
Work as fast as you can.
Come on, Sam.
It's our baby, Joe.
That's right.
Which part of it you want, the rope or the bomb?
You call it.
Fire Chief Erickson says the lightest man on the rope.
That's me, Joe.
All right, I'll get the bomb out of the building.
Okay, that's the routine. But carry this with you. The man that comes down on that rope has one chance to make good. You slug him and make it count because there's no second try.
Yeah.
And, Joe, when you grab that box, you got to get it away from Carney before he can squeeze the trigger. Then you got to get it down into the street.
The elevator.
You know how to operate it?
That's pretty simple, but I'll double-check with the operator.
Better do it right now.
Okay. Ed, we better get Carney's brother on the phone for him. He seemed anxious.
Might be a pretty good stall.
All right, Romero, that's the outside phone. Get to city jail.
All right, Skipper.
Get going, Friday.
Okay.
Jack Webb leaned on James Moser for writing and Bill Rousseau for early direction. Vic Perrin was an oft-featured guest star.
Bill directed it for a long time, and he was in on the origination of the show, too. He and a director, an NBC director, Carl Gruner, was also in on it. Bill did the directing for, I don't remember how long it was, but eventually I think Jack took over. But, yes, Bill was a fine director and a fine person.
That's it. Right to go up, left to go down.
Right to go up, left to go down. How do you operate the doors?
Automatic. They work off the control lever. When the control lever is locked in the up or down position, the doors will close.
I get it.
Now, in case they jam, this red emergency button up here?
Yeah.
Push it. If that doesn't close them, we call the repairman.
Okay, I think I got it.
You sure now? I've had my orders to get out of the building. I'll just leave the elevator right here and take the stairs down.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Sergeant, just curious. You going to take the bomb down in this car?
We're going to try.
You won't have any trouble. We haven't had an elevator failure in 18 months.
Herb Vigran often played a heavy.
Herb, did you ever work for Jack Webb?
Oh, yes, I did a lot of
An
those.
awful lot, didn't you?
Yeah, an awful lot, yeah. And most of his people were radio people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was Virginia Gregg all the time.
Yes. Was he an easy guy to work for?
Well, a lot of people didn't think so. I loved him. I had never had a problem with Jack. I got along just great with Jack. He was a very positive guy and a very impatient guy. Put up with no nonsense. But boy, he knew what he wanted, and he got what he wanted.
I told him over at the jail to put the call through on extension 2351.
Yeah. When's it coming through?
Right now.
You got Elwood with you?
No.
Look, Carney, we told you we'd get him on the phone for you. The call will be through in a minute.
Minute's a long time, cop. You only got 12 of them left.
Elwood's going to talk you out of this.
Oh, sure. Sure, everybody's going to talk me out of this. First it was them other two cops, the little Porky guy and that other monkey. Then you and this Dixie Doughhead here, and now it's Elwood. Come off it, will you, and get my brother over here.
That's him.
It's your brother, Connie. I'll get him.
Stay put, you.
Just going to get the phone. You want to talk to your brother, don't you?
I'll take care of the phone. We'll disconnect it for a while. Now get it straight, copper. I'm through with your stinking rotten lying. I want Elwood here. And I want him now. Bring him here before I blow you all to pieces.
What's going on? Who threw that phone out in the hall?
I did. You want me to go out and pick it up?
Connie, that's not going to get you anyplace.
You the big boss around here?
Maybe.
Are you or aren't you?
I answered you.
All right, big boy. I've got a piece of advice for you. Take your rookie cops here and get it through their heads I mean what I say. I want my brother over here in this room. And you've got just 11 minutes to get it done. Tell them that, will you, boy?
All right, Connie. It's your show. All right, we got to work fast now. Jones, everything set for you?
Got the bucket with the water right here. Car's waiting down in the street.
Right. Erickson, your boys ready?
Upstairs, waiting.
And we all know what to do.
Ed, I gotta have somebody to give me a hand with Carney when he falls.
I'll be in there with you Friday.
Ready to go upstairs, Chief?
Anytime. Oh, one thing you ought to know.
What's that?
Strong wind coming up. About 20 mile an hour out there right now.
That going to louse us up?
No, but it's going to increase the sway. Got to allow for it.
How you mean?
Wind's coming from the south. We'll lower you just to the right of the window. If I figure it correctly, the wind will do the rest. Bigger risk, but we don't control the weather. How you going to do it, Ben?
As soon as I get in position, I'll reach in through the window on his right. I'll use the billy. Try to catch him on the right side of his head. One good hit should put him away.
Let's make it two and be sure, huh?
Right. You ready, Chief?
Now, let's go. Ben.
Yeah?
Nothing.
I'll be careful. You too, huh?
What's the time, Friday?
8:50.
Shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes for Romero to get down to that window, unless the wind gives him trouble.
Jones, no use you sticking around.
I'll give Friday a hand.
That's my job. We've got to keep you alive to decommission the bomb.
Bum joke. See you downstairs.
You ready, Ed?
Yeah. Scared, Friday?
Yeah.
That makes us even. Come on.
That style, by the way, has been largely misinterpreted. Everybody said that all the actors spoke in a monotone, and that is not true. What Jack said was do not project.
Don't act.
Yes, well, in effect, yes, but acting it in the sense of projecting a performance. You had a great deal of scope in the way you played the character as long as it didn't become too large.
Yeah.
That was all.
It didn't seem like
And he
acting.
drove a merciless pace. His TV scripts had about 50% more material in them than the average TV show of the same length.
You had to play in the same key that he played in, or you looked like an absolute ham, you know?
Actually, he would deny this, but I believe that he was doing the same thing as the actor's studio, only in radio in those days. I don't think it carried over in the television shows, but I do think in those early days in radio, he was going for absolute truth, and it was right after the war, and people wanted absolute truth.
But you wouldn't do what I told you. Now I'm cutting you short. You guys have got exactly 1 minute to get a phone in this room where I can hear you call the jail and have them send Elwood over here.
You said 9, Carney.
All right, Joe. We'll give him what he wants. Davis, unlock the connecting door to this office.
I'll get the phone, Ed.
Will the cord reach?
Yeah.
Your brother's a prisoner. He's in our custody and he's under our protection. We can't place his life in jeopardy.
Why not leave it up to Al?
Here's the phone, Ed.
Yeah. Kenworthy, this is Backstrand. We want Elwood Carney over here at City Hall. His brother wants to see him. Explain the situation. If he wants to come, get him over here. Leave it up to him. Room 1614. You'll have to use the freight elevator.
And tell him to hurry.
Yeah. Tell him to hurry.
That's the only smart thing you've done today. Now, why don't you go next door and figure out another angle?
We'll wait for Elwood, too.
You don't think I'd let you get out now, do you? We're all going to wait right here for my brother. In case he don't show up, you're going to see me pull the plug. Just sit down. Not so close. Right where you are, sit down. Loud clock, ain't it? Windy. Getting cold in here. Sure a loud clock. Real windy. Maybe I ought to close the windows. Don't want to catch me a cold.
I can turn on the heat.
Stay put, cop. Hey, what's that? What's going on?
Just the wind,
Shut
Carney.
up! There's somebody out there. I can see his feet. You stupid cops! Pull him up! Get back there, you! Pull him up!
Friday told him to pull him up.
Right. All right, Carney. You win.
You bet I win, you dumb coppers. You didn't think I'd miss a trick like that? We'll just close these windows, boys. There's one, and lock it. And here's...
Here's your brother, Connie.
Yeah. Hi, Al.
Hi, Vern. You did it.
I told you. I told you I'd do it, didn't I? That's far enough for the rest of you. Al, come on over here.
You're crazy, Vern. You're crazy.
That's what they've been trying to tell me. We're going home, Al.
How are you going to do it? There's a million cops outside. People all over town heard about this. They're holding the crowd back.
They ain't going to stop us now, Al.
You'll never make it, either one of you.
I got him this far, didn't I? We'll make it.
Vern, you think we could do it?
Hey, you.
Yeah?
You're going to get a car ready for us, a fast one. Have it in front of the building. Move!
All right, Friday, do what he tells you.
Right.
Hold it.
Yeah.
If you ain't back by 9 o'clock, the deal still holds. I told him I'd pull the pin at 9, Al, if they didn't let you out.
You ain't fooling, are you, Vern? Will that gadget really blow?
4 miles high. You know what that means, Al?
Yeah, but they won't let you pull it. We're getting out.
All right, Copper. Get the car. You got 4 minutes.
Hey, Ben.
What happened? He spot me?
Yeah, there's no time to explain now. Listen, we got to work fast.
Yeah.
We had to bring Carney's brother over from the jail. I don't think he cares if they get out or not. He just wants to use that bomb, and for some crazy reason, he's waiting until 9.
How much time we got?
Let me look. Less than 4 minutes.
How about the ledge?
You think you can do it? Strong wind. You'll have to hang on like a fly.
I don't know. I can give it a try.
Okay. Same plan. Every second counts. Now, I can't brief Ed. He's in the room with the guy. It's up to you and me.
I'll get on the ledge from one of these offices. I hope I make it.
If you don't, we'll know you tried. Hurry. Hey, Ben, wait a minute.
Yeah?
I forgot. The windows. The one on his right. He locked it. You'll have to crawl around to the one on the left. You got it?
Right.
Okay. The car will be ready in 2 minutes. Out front.
Fine. Al and I'll just sit here and wait. Gonna be good being back together, huh, Al?
We always were real good together, Vern.
Yeah, that's the way brothers ought to be together all the time. Together.
Vern, I'd feel better with a gun.
We don't need no gun, Al. We got the bomb.
We'll need a gun when we get out, when we get on the road.
Okay. Take your pick. They all got 'em. Hey, you, give him yours.
I'm not carrying a gun. I left it in the other room.
A cop without a gun? Who's kidding who?
I left it in the other room.
Frisk the big boy, Al. He's got one. About time for the car, ain't it? 2 minutes to 9.
Yeah, this feels like it. Right on his hip. Hey, Vern, look out! Grab him, Joe. I got him.
Yeah.
Get the box.
Leave that gun alone.
I got him, Ben. I gotta get his hand out of it.
Run, Joe. Get it in the water. Run!
In a fast elevator, 16 floors isn't very much, but I've never shared an elevator with a live bomb. It seemed like minutes between floors. I kept watching the bucket. The bomb was completely underwater. A small stream of bubbles was hissing to the surface. I waited. Main floor. I picked up the bucket and ran for the street. I missed the first step. I fell forward. The bucket spun out of my hand. I sprawled flat on the sidewalk. I waited for the explosion.
It didn't go off Friday.
I gave it a good chance, Lee.
It was all there. Look, at least a dozen sticks of dynamite. Snyder, bring that over here.
Here you are, Lieutenant.
Thanks. Here's why it didn't go off. Had it rigged for a hard trigger pull. Would have taken a good yank to set this one off.
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Ben.
Clumsy.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Vernon Carney was examined by 5 different psychiatrists appointed by the Superior Court and was found to be incompetent. He is now confined in the State Mental Institution for the criminally insane. Elwood Carney is now serving the balance of his sentence with no time off for good behavior.
NBC finally had a hit. It wasn't long before Liggett & Myers Tobacco signed on as sponsor.
You have just heard the 7th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Town Marshal Lon T. Larson of the Mount Pleasant, Utah Force, who, on the night of October 15th, 1945, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
CBS took notice. A month after Dragnet's premiere, they shifted Broadway Is My Beat to Hollywood and put it under Elliot Lewis's direction.
From Los Angeles, this is NBC, the national broadcasting company.